Hi, I'm Blake Rayhans.
And I'm Stacie Mallon.
And you are listening to the Optimized AF podcast.
We know life is hard. We're here to make it simple.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to yet another episode of the Optimized AF podcast. I am Blake.
And I'm Stacie, and we are going to be talking about some quick hit tips for the next 5 episodes, which I'm really excited about. Our whole tagline is "Life is hard, we make it simple." So we decided to end this season really with some quick hitting episodes because life is busy right now. It is challenging. People are trying to balance lots of things. And that's the bulk of what we're going to be talking about, is how to block and tackle life. In general right now.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about different aspects that we covered in previous seasons and episodes, and we like to balance, the work and the personal and try to impact your guys' lives in different areas. And what we're talking about today is more work-related on the surface, but it really does spill over into your personal life. And what we're talking about is the idea of no meeting Fridays.
Yes.
And so this is an idea that some people adopt, some people don't. I've heard it a couple times. I've never worked somewhere that totally embraced this from an organization standpoint. I've been on some teams that adopt this, but the idea is, just as it's labeled, that on Fridays you make a conscious and an intentional effort of not booking stuff on people's calendars. Yes. And there's a reason behind this.
Yes. And we tried this at an organization I was at, and it was actually a great exercise, and I think they're still doing it, honestly. And there are a few elements here in play. It seems so simple. Like, people are like, okay, so people don't want to work on Friday. No, that's not the point. That is true. People don't really want to work on Friday.
It's called spade a spade, okay?
People want to drink on Friday and want to work on Friday. This is really about being intentional and setting aside time to get shit done. So there's kind of 3 components for me. It's like get shit done, and then prepping and creating a habit to prepare yourself for Monday, with the intention of then you can disconnect at the end of the day and feel like there's not stuff hanging over your head. It's not bleeding into Saturday. You're not, Sunday nights, I've heard this from a lot of people, create anxiety for them. And they know what's coming, and maybe they just don't feel prepared going into Monday. So we're going to talk through each of those elements a little bit. But for me, this has been something that I've tried to institute in teams that I've been on. And like I said, we instituted this at an organization.
Yeah. So we break it down. You just started on kind of the high level stuff of it. When you're thinking about your team, or you as an individual, or if you manage others, think about your team throughout the course of a week. And what do you really want to get from them? Mondays, I think, get a lot of attention because, Mondays are dreaded. Mondays are supposed to kick off the week, and we get a lot of attention on Mondays. Monday motivation. Everybody knows you're coming off the weekend, and there's this big push to get back into the mode of work. And so Mondays are like, let me set a strategy for the week. Let me do my planning. Let me make sure that I'm prepped ahead for anything that's on the calendar. But as you progress through the week, if you're continuing to load up with these meetings, these calls, these things that take away from our ability to have time to quote unquote do the work, you're not getting stuff done that you can actually put a cap on it. It's done. It's off my plate. I am now moving into the weekend to recharge my batteries so that when I do come back around on Monday, it's not such a gargantuan effort to get moving again. And I think that's why Mondays have such a hard time for people. Well, let's face it. If you hate your job, you hate Mondays in general because you don't like where you're going. But taking those people out of the equation, if you genuinely do enjoy the work that you do, Mondays are really difficult when you haven't had the opportunity over the weekend to feel like you've recharged. And that starts on Friday when you're still in the office. And this idea of no meeting Friday is that you're intentionally giving people back the opportunity to get stuff done, mentally check it off the list so that at Friday, 5:00, you can go in and enjoy that drink without the anxiety of like, well, I guess I'm just going to have to dig myself out of a hole on Monday.
Yeah. And I think if you were to close your eyes right now and you're listening to this and think about walking.
Unless you're driving. Like, okay, we're not responsible for the poor decisions that you make.
Unless you're in a Tesla, then you can close your eyes too. But imagine walking into a Monday and with the knowledge that you are prepared, you understand what you're supposed to do first, you know what the priority is, you have structure to your day. Like the washing away of the kind of the cliffhanger of walking into a Monday. If it was a good experience versus a bad experience, imagine how different your week starts. And so I think the first element when we've talked about this before with teams is, it's not like your schedule's empty. Time box to get shit done. So GSD time box, right? Take projects or elements or, an hour for email, distribution or cleaning out your inbox, an hour for this. So be intentional. This is not a day off. Again, this is a day of intention. So block that time. Blake and I record on Fridays. So we've gotten much better about this because we now prep and we have some rhythm that we created, and that works for us. And so find what works for you and what order works for you, because I think people underestimate that. Email cleaning out is kind of a mindless task. I wouldn't do that we've talked about prime time before. Don't do that during your prime time.
Don't do it during prime time.
Take the prime time you have. We've discussed prime time before. So for a lot of people, it's in the morning between like 9 and 11. For a lot of people, you're awake, you're energized, you haven't hit the afternoon slump. Take that time to do the big stuff, project work, drafting content, drafting emails, things that take some brain power, and then block the afternoon for cleaning out your inbox and, making the checklist for Monday. So
doing the TPM reports and
all of those, finding the stapler, whatever you need to do on a Friday.
I literally just told someone this morning. We're setting up a new expense platform at the organization I work for. And it's like, hey, no rush on getting this thing configured. Like, I'm not going to do my expenses at 9:00 in the morning.
Ever. Oh, no.
Yeah, ever. I'm not going to turn in my receipts. No, I intentionally do not do tasks like that until like the late afternoon, towards one of the last things I do before I leave the office, or I might even not even do it at the office. I said, look, this is something I can do with a nice, drink at home while I'm just sitting there, just kind of mindless work, plugging stuff in. I'm not going to take and steal away from prime time to do something like expense reports.
Yep.
But I want to go back to something you said there about the preparation piece of it, because you got to help me out with this, and I'm even going to look at our producer Nick to see if he can help, because I know there's a saying out there that's like preparation leads to confidence, confidence leads to execution. Is that the saying? Or something along those lines. Don't quote me on it.
That's
look it up,
one.
Google it. Nick's going to help us out here. I think it's something of preparation leads to confidence, confidence leads to execution. Let's break that down. The times where you feel like you're really not getting shit done is when you probably don't feel very confident in the work that you're doing or the allocation of your time. If you don't feel confident in the work you're doing or the allocation of your time, you can probably, in most cases, track that backwards to a lack of preparation. So let's walk that forward again. So what we're talking about is Fridays is your get shit done and also prep for the week ahead. If you're not doing a weekly retrospective, fucking start doing it now. I'm serious. Like, you have to block that time on your calendar every Friday, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 4:30, whatever it works for you. Take a half an hour, block the time, do a weekly retrospective. You got to look back at the week. What did I intend to get done? Did I get it all done? What went really well for me this week? And what got in my way? That download is hugely beneficial. I cannot stress that enough. From that, you go ahead and you start looking at the week ahead. What do I have on deck? And what do I need to start executing like hell on those things? When you start doing that on a Friday, and I think especially like what we're talking about today, when you do that at the tail end of having a Friday where all you've done is just get shit done. You are not on phone calls. You're not pulled into meetings that go 40 minutes past their time limit. You know who you are out there. Stop inviting me to those meetings.
End them on time.
I'm going to leave when it ends. I got shit to do. You are tailing at the end of an incredibly productive day, and then you are doing a download of your entire week of what happened, and you are setting yourself up for success on the week ahead. Now, what does that do for your Saturday and Sunday? It is so freeing.
Liberating.
It is so liberating. It is so freeing. And why is that important? we're circling right back around to the original point. You are filling your bucket on Saturday and Sunday with the things that matter most to you, your hobbies, your family, your friends, whatever it is for you, so that when Monday rolls back around, not only are you prepared for the week, but you feel a hell of a lot better about it too.
Energized. And I love what you said about the retrospective. I agree. Celebrating the successes that you had. You and I talked about this a long time ago when we were both looking for work, because it was, so if you're looking for work right now, this includes you, because what I would tell you, and Blake and I found this very helpful, is we would do a retrospective and start to count the wins of the week. When you're looking for work, or when you're redirecting your business, or you're an entrepreneur, you can get to an end of a week and really start to beat yourself up about what didn't happen. So one really healthy habit is to do this retrospective and count your wins. These are the things that really went well. This is what I got across the line. I think that's really helpful. A couple of other things about structuring on your Friday. One thing that I do is I do one thing, first thing, that's a box check. It's like not a hard task, something that maybe I enjoy. So social media posting, maybe a LinkedIn posting. I enjoy creating those and doing the graphic design on those. And it's something I need to do, but it's something I like to do. But it gives me one piece of momentum to say, okay, I got that done. And I literally check the list. And I just sent Blake this on Amazon, but I'll mention this. I started moving to, there's a skinny little whiteboard. Hopefully I make it sell out on Amazon, and maybe we can get maybe some credit here. But it's a little whiteboard on Amazon. And I'm a sticky note queen. I've always been a sticky note queen. And this has been very helpful for me. So as I'm doing my day, I write everything out. And then as I get it done, I'm erasing. And then whatever's left, I put on my next day. And it's eliminated, so many notes and lists and things that I have. But it's also a visual representation of, it's only this big. Like, I cannot put 25 things on the board.
If you're not watching on the YouTube channel, it's about a foot and a half.
It's like a keyboard. It's the size of a keyboard. I think it's called a keyboard whiteboard, actually.
There you go.
Because I think you can set your keyboard on it and move your keyboard off. I don't do that because I use a laptop. But it's a really, find something that works for you, related to that organization. But more importantly, I always put on there what that first thing is going to be, so I can physically check the box, erase it. I erase it, and it feels, it's about momentum and mindset. It's about saying, okay, I got that one thing done, and now I can just start knocking down the list. Now I can go into my prime time and focus on writing a piece of content you need your juices flowing.
And let me ask you this though, when do you come up with that first quick win thing?
The day before.
Thank you. Yes. I knew the answer, but I think it's important for people listening to understand that, you do not want to start your day, to the best of your ability. I'm not trying to prescribe how you do this. We're just offering tips and tricks and things that we've known to work really well for lots of people, including ourselves. But if you wake up, you get ready, you go, and then you sit down, and then you're trying to decide what is the first thing I'm going to tackle, you are starting your day off carrying a 50-pound weight behind you. You have an anchor. But if you start off the night before you lay your head down on the pillow and you say, hey, you know what, the first thing I need to do tomorrow is XYZ. Okay, great. Boom. Good night's sleep. I took my focus pill from Dr. Jason Kobler and Human Elements. Shout out. And then I go to sleep. I get the greatest night's sleep I've had. I wake up in the morning, I get the kids going, I get going with my wife, we start our day off wonderfully, we all jump out of the house, and I sit down finally to get the thing done. I already know exactly what it is. Yep. That anchor is not there. So I've got, to your point, the momentum to then just start kicking off, other things and knocking shit down, and that feels really good.
Yep.
Or I can start off my day and have a half an hour where I'm starting to think well, should I do this? Should I do that? Look at that email that just popped in. Oh shit, I should look at that. And all of a sudden 3 hours are gone through my prime time.
The worst.
And I've fucking lost all of it.
The derailing email at 6:00 in the morning is the worst. Yep. Blake, it's a good point, and we've talked about habit stacking before. We started Optimized AF talking about atomic habits, and some of my team read it, and then other people are reading it. I feel like
hashtag
you're
James
welcome,
Clear.
James Clear.
Yep.
And this, what we're asking you to do is to create a habit stack for Friday. That's essentially what we're saying is just an incredible practice. So Thursday, last thing, set up your Friday for success. Select that one box checking thing. Block your calendar. Intentionally block your calendar with what works for you. When is your prime time? When are you going to do your mindful work? And schedule breaks. You know, this is something we've talked a lot about, people working from home, and I will say it again. You have to set breaks. I have a break in the middle of my day that says eat, move, breathe. And it's on my calendar every single day and it's blocked. And so people will be like, you know, this looks like it's blocked on your calendar. If I move it, I move it. I don't erase it. I move it to a different part of the day. Yep. So I think that these are the things that create healthy habits on a Friday, because we're going to talk about in a subsequent episode about self-care. I think something that's slipping away from our grasp right now is there's a thought process of, I'm home. Many of us are still working remotely, and many of us will continue to work remotely. So it feels like I should feel good and I should feel rested, and I need to be on these calls back to back to prove that I'm working. No, let that shit go. You have the right and the need to energize yourself in the space of your day. So be intentional about how you set up No Meetings Friday.
I do this all the time. I set time for myself in my calendar, and it's literally yesterday, somebody was like, "This is the only time that works. Can I book it?" I always just say, "Yeah, delete that time," and I never move it.
And you got to move it.
Big.
It's your time.
To still do it. We just
it's not about replacing something. You just have to shift it around because you know what works for you.
Yeah.
You have to. So here, if you've managed a team before, you might be listening to this and going, God, I can't lose that time. I'm worried about my people being productive. We've probably all found ourselves in that space at some point or another. So
maybe, but not my team.
Well,
do you hear me? Who hears me?
Who hears
No
me?
Meeting Friday team.
No Meeting Fridays are on at UTI. So my question I want to ask, and I want you to think about this if you're listening to it, is would you rather have 40 hours a week where you're dictating what people do and you're getting, let's be honest, 40% productivity out of them?
40 to 50.
There's
maybe.
several studies out there. I'm not going to pretend to know what the statistics are, but I know they're low. They've consistently been low over the decades. The amount of utilization of people's time, this is a metric in a lot of companies about, talent utilization, and meaning of how much of their time are we getting actual work out of them. Not bathroom breaks, not going outside to smoke, not lunchtime, not this, that, or the other, but how much time are they being productive that leads to the results for the company. Those are incredibly low. You'd be shocked if you looked at it. So my question to you is, would you rather be focused in on dictating meetings and calls and all this shit that we have to deal with for 40 hours a week and getting 35 to 40% productivity? Or would you rather institute an idea about No Meetings Fridays, what we're talking about here, and making that a practice within your team, knowing that you are likely going to get still 40 hours. Guess what? You're just not doing meetings, but you're still getting 40 hours of work, and you're probably getting productivity up by 10, 15, maybe even arguably 20%.
Right.
Think about it. You have to really think about how to manage your team differently than the way things have been done for decades in the past. That shit doesn't work anymore. There are aspects of it that do, but you have to rethink the construct of, to your point, Stacie, dictating that people are going back-to-back calls because that proves that they're working hard. Right?
Yep.
Of course, this is all wrapped into, you got to make sure you have good hiring practices. You've got good operating procedures within your team to check in with people. They've got clear goals. You know that you're the best damn coach in the world and you want them to win. And all this plays into it. But then you have the freedom and the latitude to say, hey, you know what, guys? I don't want anybody scheduling anything on Fridays.
Yep.
It's your time to get work done.
Yep. And here's what it communicates, I think. It communicates to me.
I feel very passionate about this today.
I do.
Maybe it's the Bikini Beans coffee.
Maybe it is.
Been a little juiced on this. I don't know what's going on.
What it is it respects people's time. So what it communicates to people is, I respect your time. I respect the time you want to have for your family. I respect you wanting to go into the weekend with sanity. I respect that you're doing what you say you're going to do. And I trust you that even though there's no meetings on Friday, I trust that you're going to do what you need to do. So here's what we'll say in summary on this episode. This is a habit stack. So think about how you want to really curate your Friday and be intentional about how you do that. Start on Thursday, as we've said a few times today. Select that one thing, block your calendar. If you're a leader, I would highly encourage you to try this, not just once, but maybe more than once. And if you try it, when you try it, I'm going to say, check in with people on Monday around noon and see how they're doing and see if there's a difference for them and how they feel about their Monday. Yeah,
you're right, Stacie, because there's probably a couple different camps of people listening to this. Some of them own their calendars. They have the ability to really own their calendar, dictate when do I and when do I not, right? And there's another camp of people that unfortunately, you're on a team and possibly your calendar is dictated for you by others, right? So you have to take this episode and kind of decide, well, which camp am I in? Can I take full ownership of this and I can do this on my own? Or do I need to really pull in some other people to get, kind of buy off or on this idea? But in either camp, I think it goes really beneficial to say that you should become more and more, this is not a Band-Aid you can just rip off. It's probably something slow over time, but you should become very unapologetic in what you want for yourself, and then requiring other people to respect that. I know it sounds kind of weird, requiring respect, but I think you understand what I'm saying by that is that you have to be unapologetic, meaning that I will not shift in this. Caveat, there's always fires to put out. We get it. There are clients, there are customer issues, there are business issues. But let me talk to my HR people.
Let me talk to my HR people.
HR peeps, listen up.
I know what you're going to say to me. I have to do interviews on Friday. Let me ask you a question. If you were a candidate for an organization and they said to you, here are my interview times, and we don't do interviews on Friday because we do no meetings Friday so that we can have success on our weekend. How does that feel to a candidate that's interviewing with your organization? I will be honest with you, I would be hard pressed to find anybody that would say that they would disagree that would be an amazing practice for an organization that they want to be a part of. So I know HR people are going to say, I have to do interviews. I have to get it done. Yes, we have recs to fill. We have a lot of things to do, and you can still do this practice.
Absolutely.
So we're going to encourage you to.
There's a book I want to just mention real quick before you wrap it up, because there's a book that talks about this, and it's a super easy read, super quick, very good story to tell. It's called The Carpenter by John Gordon. Okay, and in that, there's no spoilers to this, but in there's a piece of it where this character, the carpenter, somebody calls him for a job, and they get his voicemail, and the voicemail is describing exactly what you're talking about, of showing someone that the respect and the time that I'm giving to the thing that I'm doing right now is the same respect and time and attention that you can expect from me when it's your turn. And he talks about how, look, right now I'm working on a job, and I'm giving 100% of my focus to making sure that I'm doing the best that I can at the job that I'm at. And for that, I will not respond to your voicemail till later, blah, blah, blah. I'll let you guys read the book, but it's a wonderful read, super quick, really inspirational, but it goes along those lines. You're not taking away, you're actually providing that candidate in your story, in your example, Stacie, you're providing that candidate an insight into how this company treats people and how they operate, which you will find that more and more high quality candidates will want to be part of that environment. You're going to find a bigger pool of incredible talent.
Yep.
I just wanted to bring that in there before we wrap
the book reference is awesome. It becomes part of your culture and who you are as a team and an individual. So with that, we'll wrap today's episode. We will see you next week with more quick hitting content over the next few episodes on tips on how to optimize life. Hey guys, thanks for listening to our show. You can find Blake and I on social media channels at Blake Rayhans and at Stacie Mallon.
Be sure to follow Optimized AF on Instagram and rate and subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. See you next time.